Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got it!
Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Worked out by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to a mobile edition of Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the field here at Lucas Oil Stadium in downtown Indianapolis as the B1G Media Days gets underway for the first time in 2 years. Great to be back, to see people, the sets behind us, the fields behind us, as you can see right here on Radio Row. On the program today, Dustin Schutte will be with us, Matt Taylor, who is very familiar with this building, and we'll see what all we can get scattered up. Philip Dunham, Indiana's newest commit, will also join us as well. And then tomorrow, we're going to have Tom Allen, Jeff Braun from Purdue, a couple of the players, probably Michael Penix. We'll get all that scheduled out for tomorrow. But B1G Media Days are here. The hardest thing was getting into the building today as things get started. But I hope you guys are having a great day and ready to get to it, because I certainly am. Hello, Jesse. Appreciate you joining us as we are coming to you again from the field. This is pretty cool. Broadcasting from the field of Lucas Oil Stadium as the Big Ten starts their football season here, and this is where it will end, ironically, as well, as the champions will be crowned come early December. Who will that be? Could Indiana find their way into a Big Ten championship this year? Could the home state school manage to do that? Well, that would be above some tall odds, without question. First of all, knocking off the behemoth that is Ohio State is something that no one has been able to do from the Big Ten for quite some time. Indiana came as close as anyone to knocking them off last year. A few problems we've talked about prevented that from happening. They'll get another opportunity this year, maybe their best opportunity in 35 years to beat Ohio State. There's no doubt this is the best team that they're going to have against Ohio State in that period. This is probably the best team that they have ever had against Ohio State, to be honest with you. Ohio State's down a little bit. That's going to help. But to say Ohio State is down a little bit is just to say that they're a 9.5 instead of a 10. So down is not out by any means. But it's going to be a fun time here. We get to hear all the coaches speak. They're all fired up. PJ Fleck's going to start it off today, rowing his boat across the field here at Lucas Oil Stadium. So we'll see how that goes. Waiting for Dustin. Dustin's going to join us once he gets in. Like I said, it's hard to get in here this morning. They didn't open it up as soon as we would like to them. Normally, B1G Media Days are held in a hotel, and we set up the night before, and it's not an issue. That was not the case. Hey, Jennifer says, hey, from down in Evansville. Yeah, it's about as fun of a spot as we've ever done a show from. There's no doubt about that. Definitely the background is as cool as you can get. It's probably like being in the Super Bowl. When you cover the Super Bowls, they do all that stuff out on the field. It's much better. I would like to see them do this from now on. It's much, much better. Everything is in one location. When we're in a hotel, there's Radio Row is separated off into some room over wherever, some ballroom, and then there's this ballroom, and there's stuff. It's all broken out. Here, everything is together. You've got the main dais that is just beyond those lights over there under the large stadium. That's where the main dais is. And then over here, you'll see the beginning of that right there. That's where the breakout sessions will be for the individual coaches, and that's a much better situation. The main dais is just where they say, yeah, we're blah, 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 da, da, da. You get them over there, and that's where a little fun can happen. It's a little more intimate, as well as the players. And it's going to be the first time that we have sat in front of coaches and players live for 2 years. It's nice. It's part of making that connection and being able to bring you as good a coverage as possible. But thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it. What went on last night, I have no idea. I was so jacked up working on this stuff and ready to get started. Let's see. Trace Jackson's got a new shirt he's selling apparently. So let me see if I can pull it up. Apparently that was sent to me on a message. Boom. Yep, I need to get that sent to John. That's a good looking shirt, to be honest with you. And you know, it's kind of funny. You really think about it. A college kid would have been ineligible for selling a damn T-shirt with his name on it prior to this. It's a little ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. But those days are gone, luckily. Trying to get this to John so we can put that up. Don't we have a 4-star announcing today? Yeah. Exactly. Joe Strickland. Definitely going to be talking about that when Dustin joins us. And I've said this, I think I said it yesterday. I don't think it's a coincidence that he is announcing today. That tells me that it's either Indiana or Purdue, which shocking that Stanford lost out, but they are a long way away. And it takes a special kid to go across the country to do anything for 4 years. I don't know that I could have done it, but doesn't mean it's not going to be Stanford. But I think the coincidence of Big Ten Media Days starting today, both Indiana and Purdue's coaches talking tomorrow, I just think it lines up for one of those schools. And I would be hard pressed to imagine Indiana beating out or Purdue beating out Indiana on this. Indiana is on a high trajectory. Everyone can see that. It's getting better and better. They're there. And I just think that the in-state pull with Omar and all the other guys that have been calling him, I think that this is the move. You want to talk about a movement? You know, they talked about that movement a couple years in basketball. This is an actual movement. In-state kids coming together and trying to pull each other. That's a movement, to be honest with you. That's an actual movement. That's in-state kids trying to elevate their in-state program. And if they're successful getting Joe Strickland, there's no question. I mean, the foundation is already set. There's no doubt about that. But there is a definitive in-state movement happening, and Joe Strickland would complete that. Now, Taven Jackson would have added to that, but the quarterback room is beyond full. It would have been great to see that work out, but there's too much talent there already. Donovan McCulley's already a year ahead, and it just probably not going to work out that way. But that's a great problem to have when you think about a state like Indiana, who doesn't normally produce that many top-level quarterbacks at the same time. But there's a couple of good ones that have been coming out. So there's that. I can't see the comments right now for some reason, John. So I don't know why. I'm going to try to fix that.
Here, while you're doing that, I can still roll through them for you. And you can
now I see them.
You got them?
I don't know how that got changed.
Okay.
It did. I can't really reach them right now because we've set that up for a bigger set. But let's see. Anything? If I missed anything, we got the 4-star. Hey, Forrest, how are you, brother? Down in Georgia listening. We appreciate you. Indiana Creek Walker. Dwayne, down south as well. How are you doing? Pete? Jennifer, she prefers the Logan Duncombe shirt. Oh, I didn't send that to you, did I? Well, the Logan Duncombe shirt is definitely more comical. But the Traces jacket is a shirt that if I was a kid, I'd buy his shirt. That's a good-looking shirt. I need to get that sent over to John Boy so you can put that up if you want. Boom. And that's how you do that. Nope, wrong one. I didn't use the camera. I don't even know how to operate. But I'm surprised we haven't seen more of these out already. But it just happened. So, but I don't think that T-shirt is going to put a ton of money in his pocket. I mean, how many of those things can you really sell? Where are they going to sell them? That's a question. Will Indiana assist their athletes in selling merchandise? Do they get a cut off of anything from Indiana. That's curious too. Get Jeremy back on, Jeremy Gray, and ask him that as I send this T-shirt over to John Boyd. What time are we? All right, so we got a great show coming up today. Looking forward to it as Big Ten Media Days are kicking off. Get that cylinder, John. And Forrest says, unless he wants to study engineering, he qualified Stanford academics. I can't really read that from here. Oh, I'm sure he did qualify for Stanford. That was the same thing with Anthony Leal. Anthony Leal came down to Indiana and Stanford. I mean, Anthony Leal's a very, very smart kid. Stanford Indiana's a great school. Don't get me wrong. I graduated from Indiana. It's a Big Ten school. Stanford, academically wise, is probably considered a little bit higher. Northwest, I'm not saying it's Northwestern, but it's up there. It's hard to turn down a free ride to a place like Stanford, but he's got other things on his mind right now. The Stanford program is the Pac-12, not really doing much. He has a shot. You come to Indiana, you've got a shot you're playing Big Ten football against Ohio State every year. You're playing against Michigan, Penn State, programs that are elevated right now. And you're coming to a program that is elevated, that has an actual shot at a Big Ten, playing in a Big Ten title. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but they're more than likely going to go to another January bowl game. It's going to take a bad loss, an unexpected loss or two to change that. But I think this team is destined for good things this year. Looking forward to it. Let's see. Indiana Creek Walker said, there you go. There's the shirt. Trey Stackton Davis. I like that shirt, man. I'm telling you. That's a good design. If you were buying shirts and whatnot. Not bad. Let's see. I'm sure he's going. Oh, there you go. It's Indiana Creek Walker was talking about Stanford. But let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Matt Taylor on. Probably most familiar people we're going to talk to today with this building, the house that Peyton built. We're back with more from Lucas Oil Stadium right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're looking... My coffee. All right,
what are you looking for? Where we came in, right to the right, was the one. No. Where we entered the field here. All right.
Matt will probably join a minute or so after we start because we broke about a minute early.
I was trying to get Brett Belima. He's down here. PJ Fleck is down here. See, that's the thing about not having anybody here. This one-man stuff is driving me insane.
Elite, hey, you got guests lined up the rest of the show, so you should be good.
Yeah, I know, but see, there's other great guests I could get if I.
Mm-hmm.
No
All right,
pictures.
bring us back in.
And on 86th Street in Indy have a long list of craft beers and all of the right foods to go with. Plan a day on the links at Eagle Point in Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink. This segment is brought to you by Sam's Family of Restaurants. Fresh, local, family. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the field at Lucas Oil Stadium for Big Ten Media Days 2021. Great to be back doing things live. Just walked down Radio Road. Coach Brett Belima's down the way. PJ Fleck down the way from Minnesota. Both of them speaking today. Just, like I said, great to be out here. Dustin Schutte joining us here in just a little bit as he is working to get into the building, which is not easy, I assure you. But looking forward to a great day. Speaking today, Kevin Warren, the commissioner, start things off. Then PJ Fleck is the first coach. Then Maryland's coach, Michael Loxley. Then Scott Frost from Nebraska. Brett Belima, Illinois, followed by James Franklin from Penn State, Pat Fitzgerald, and, of course, Jim Harbaugh closes it out. I don't think it's any coincidence. I think that Ryan Day closes it out tomorrow. Very, very, very possible. I think that no accident. Let's see. Here's a big, comment. Let's see. What was that one? Okay, I can't hit that comment. John, so you're going to hit it. There we go. Michael said, this doesn't seem too complicated to me from a basketball standpoint. If IU wins a couple of Big Ten matches. Oh, I'm sorry. He's talking basketball. Must have been a conversation going on there I missed. But anyway, coming to you from Lucas Oil Stadium, looking forward to being joined by Dustin Schutte. Tomorrow, Coach Allen will be joining us, as well as Jeff Braun from Purdue. We should be able to get Michael Penix on. I forget who the other, Michael McFadden is coming up. I think Ty Freifogel is also one of Indiana's players that's coming up. What's going to happen in the Big Ten? Today's kind of a Big Ten West Day, I guess you'd say. Not really. They mix it up. Northwestern, because you got Michigan, Penn State, and Maryland. So you got half of the East right there, or nearly half the East. But it just feels like more of a Big Ten West Day. But what's going to happen in the West this year? You've got some new faces. Brett Belima, as I mentioned, first-year coach at Illinois. But he has a lot of experience from the Big Ten, previously coaching there before he went to Arkansas. What's PJ Fleck? I think this is his fifth season there. Elevated the program, but where are they going to go this season? A lot of questions. Scott Frost. Scott Frost is probably the biggest. I'd say he's on a little bit of a hot seat at Nebraska. I think he has to go to a bowl game this season. As we're joined with the man who built Lucas Oil Stadium, Matt Taylor, joining us now. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Well, that's a stretch, isn't it? But hey, I recognize that background. How you guys doing?
Pretty good, but I said, we're welcoming on a guy that's as familiar with this building as anybody. How are you doing, sir? It's good to be down here. Very cool doing a show from the field.
Yeah, the field's in great shape. They actually just replaced that last year in terms of the field turf. So, it's I haven't been in that building since, let's see, when was I there last? Might have been around the draft. I was there for the draft, so that was in April. So I'm excited to get back. So it's gonna be really cool to have football, and the Colts are gonna start football next Wednesday up at training camp at Grand Park. So let's get it on.
Absolutely, and of course, college football getting started. The Big Ten starting things here, and it will end here in December as they crown a champion months from now. But it's just so awesome, Matt, getting out here and doing things face to face. Not you, of course, but the coaches, the players are going to be here. The breakouts, be able to actually ask them questions face to face and have that interaction. I mentioned Brett Belima's down the way, PJ Fleck's down the way right now. It's been 2 years since we've been able to do this.
Yeah, what you got? What do you got? You got Tom Allen on your show. You got
Tomorrow,
all the movers and shakers stopping by. What's the lineup there?
Tomorrow, Tom Allen speaking. So we got Tom Allen tomorrow, Jeff Brom tomorrow, the IU players tomorrow. Brett Belima should be on here today. If I can get down to PJ Fleck, get him on.
Cool.
Whoever we can shake loose when they get down here.
No, that's awesome. That's kind of like being at the Combine or being on Radio Row at the Super Bowl. So I'm familiar with the setting and the process and everything like that. It's good to have all this hype and all this buzz heading into a very contested Big Ten season, and then you break it down into a smaller scale, looking at what IU is, what they can do. I think what they're capable of doing, and so. It's certainly a gauntlet right out of the gate, playing Iowa and Cincinnati in 2 out of those first 3 weeks. And so get off to a good start, kind of set the tone for the season if you're a Hoosier fan. And then who knows, maybe you got a really good chance at home against Ohio State. Maybe you got a good chance on the road against Michigan and Penn State. This could be a special season. But like I've said many times on this show, I'm still kind of in that wait-and-see mode out of IU, because this amount of expectation, this amount of success, chucking 9-10 wins potentially out of this group. This is kind of foreign territory for us IU fans. So I hope we see it, but I'm still I want to get to 6, 7, 8 wins. To me, that's still a very successful season, considering you're playing a Big Ten East schedule and you haven't won a bowl game since the early 90s.
Yeah, that winning the bowl game thing is becoming a monkey on the back, especially when you're talking 3 of the bowl games that they played in should easily have won. Well, actually, I think they got screwed at the Pinstripe Bowl in 15. But they should have beaten Tennessee, should have beaten Ole Miss, and just weren't ready for either of those. But that's exactly what they have to do to go to the next level, because they're elevating everything else. A big decision coming today in Joe Strickland, an in-state recruit, 4-star, that if he commits to Indiana, I was talking about it earlier. They talked about a movement a couple of years ago in basketball with Christian Watford and all those guys. They called it the movement. This is actually a movement, because you've got all these Indiana in-state kids that are trying to get Strickland to come to Indiana. That's a movement, especially if it's successful. They already have a foundation started, but when you get a group of 4A stars from your state, Indiana has not done that ever. And that, to me, that's a movement.
Well, when you talk about historically in this state, in this market, because most of the great high school talent in the state, not all of it, but a lot of it is in Indianapolis, the kids that would have a chance to go on and play Division I college football, you saw it a couple of years ago. There was a kid from Decatur Central that was, he picked Iowa. You saw the Werner kid a couple of years ago from Cathedral. He went to Ohio State. That's changing. And I don't think it's going to completely ever eradicate, because, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and, there's a lot of great programs around this area competing for talent. Now Cincinnati's in the mix. They're only about an hour and a half away in the southeastern part of the state. But you get the idea that now kids that want to go and have a really good college football experience, they can stay in state to do it. They can go to IU and do it. They can be on national TV every week. They can play in marquee games every week against Penn State and Michigan and Ohio State. And, we gripe a lot about the Big Ten East, and I'll completely, I'll admit to that and raise my hand, because I think the divisions are silly and they really don't serve any practical purpose. But I do think it's a little bit of a recruiting chip, if you will, for IU, that they can say now that they can compete and have a chance to win those games and really do something special. They can go into living rooms of recruits and say, every year we're going to have a chance to beat Ohio State. You're going to have an opportunity to do something really, really special here. You can kind of be on the ground floor of turning Indiana football into, a powerhouse in the Big Ten. You're going to play in the big house every year in Michigan. You're going to go play in front of 100,000 people at Penn State. So I do think that's a little bit of a recruiting chip that IU has, and again, they're starting to recruit way above their station in college football. They're getting kids now like they have had 4 or 5 years of success where they've really only had 2. So I give Tom Allen a lot of credit for that. But yeah, kids now can go down to Bloomington and have a really good college football experience. If I'm a high level recruit, a 3, 4, 5-star recruit, I can stay in state, go to IU, play in front of a lot of people, and be noticed on the next level, with NFL scouts, because I'm going to be on national TV every week, and a lot of scouts can see my games, because I'm kind of centrally located in the heart of the Midwest.
Yeah, and not only that, the coaching elevation that is coming in, getting to the next level. Coach McCullough coming in with Super Bowl experience, knowing that, and not just, you don't have to be a running back, just having that kind of coaching around you is going to elevate you. It's going to elevate the program. I've said it before. I think that he was a great hire for Tom Allen, because I think that he can be a great asset to Tom Allen after working under Coach Andy Reid. He's one of the great minds in football. And I think Tom Allen can really use that, especially right now. I think this is the perfect time for him to come in and help Coach Allen further himself as a head coach and get past those things like not getting those bowl wins.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a guy that leaves his post about, going from an NFL program to a college program in Indiana in the Big Ten, I mean, that's saying a lot. And he's obviously bringing a lot of, cachet with him, with his son. And then I just think it kind of turns the heads of recruits towards Indiana as well. So I'm incredibly excited about just what they're building and what the potential is for this upcoming season.
What are you doing now till camp starts? Once camp starts for the Colts, are you out there at camp every day? You have responsibilities you have to do?
Yeah, so, camp is going to start on Wednesday. That's the first practice. So we're actually going to load up there on Monday and get set up and get all our gear up there. And every day at practice, we'll be up there watching practice and talking with the fans. And I'll be doing some PA stuff and kind of some MC things during practice, kind of telling people, what's coming up, what's this period all about, what are they trying to accomplish, and kind of setting the scene for the rest of practice and kind of getting people engaged throughout the session. But then we're going to be doing all of our radio shows and podcasts from up there. We're going to be doing one-on-ones with the players and the coaches and the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, people like that. So we're going to be churning a lot of content out there on a daily basis up at Grand Park. And so I highly encourage Colts fans, if you're in the area, if you're in central Indiana, Westfield is such an easy place to get in and out of. The roads up there are beautiful. There's a lot of access. It's going to be really hassle-free. It's free. It's open to the public. 19 practices. The entire schedule is up on the website right now. It's colts.com/camp. Most of the practices start at 10 o'clock in the morning, but you do have some weekend dates where you're going to practice in the afternoon, so that's more conducive to people's schedule. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be really good, and it's like I said, it should be hassle-free. You have to download a ticket on the website, but you get in. That's really all there is to it. Come one, come all, because there's no restrictions on crowd size, and you don't have to prove that you have the vaccine. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to temperature check. So it should be pretty painless. And so I know there's a lot of people kind of chomping at the bit to come out and have experiences and see the team before the season starts, because quite frankly, there's a lot of people, for whatever reason, that want to see the Colts, that can't see the Colts during the season at Lucas Oil Stadium. And I think, knock on wood, I think that tickets are going to be a hot commodity this year, because I think people just want to come out and see football and take in the Colts and be part of a rowdy 60,000 seat fan stadium again. And so I'm just incredibly excited for most of normalcy to return with training camp and the start of the season.
Coming off of this COVID year, like we just talked about, and I talked about how nice it is to be here doing this. What do you think is going to be the fan response? Is it just going to be like rabid, waiting just to get back into the stadium when these games come back?
I think so. I mean, everybody's different. Certainly, people are, kind of in their own boat, and they have decisions to make. And I think there's a section of the fan base that's still going to be cautious, and you can understand that. Everybody's got their circumstances. But I think Indianapolis is a big enough market that can hold up to 65,000 fans that want to come out and embrace bringing back to football and being in a crowd of that size. I mean, most of the market is vaccinated. The numbers in Marion County are sort of under control. You certainly don't want to, take anything for granted during all of this, but certainly we're in a much better spot now than we were just months ago. And we kind of talked about this earlier in the week. I mean, you think back to the last time the Colts played a football game, Jim. I mean, you go back to January 9th. That was the playoff game against the Buffalo Bills. So, like, mindset-wise, put yourself back into that. There's snow on the ground. It's freezing cold out. The vaccine had just rolled out at that point. I mean, think about all the things you've done since January 9th. Yeah, I'm sure you've taken trips. You've been out about. I'm sure you've seen more people because, things are more positive as far as COVID's concerned. So I just think psychologically people are, feeling good about things. They're excited to be back. I think a lot of people out here in this market, they, Sundays in the fall with the Colts, that's just what they do. It's sort of a ritual, whether you tailgate for the game or go to the game, or you kind of plan your day and your errands around the Colts schedule. So I just think there's a lot of people that are excited to kind of have that back in their lives on kind of dedicating the Sunday to the NFL and to the Colts.
Yeah, and the Colts built up a great audience, a great fan base. And, of course, Peyton Manning was a big reason of that. But can Indiana, can they ride off of that coattails a little bit? Of course, that comes with winning. The Colts were so popular because they won. But Indiana has to do the same. They're getting there, but their fan base has not been anything to write home about. And it's going to be interesting to see what it's like this season, as they do have a great product on the field, and everyone knows that. So I wonder how that's going to be. They have a tremendous schedule. You've got Cincinnati at home as one of your non-con games. That is amazing right there. So you've got Ohio State at home. So they have a great schedule, a great list of teams to play, but I'm curious to see what the Indiana fans do this year.
Well, you would know more about that than I, because you follow this and you obviously live down in Bloomington. What do you think the response is going to be? I saw something on Twitter the other day that you brought up that Cincinnati game, that pretty much the only seats left for that game in terms of what I saw were, nosebleeds. And I think even those are going to go pretty fast. And I think Cincinnati being close and being a really good team, and that being a really great, marquee non-conference game, obviously for both teams, but I just think for college football before the Big Ten, or I should say the conference schedules get into swing, I think that's, one of the big games that you kind of circle and say that has a chance to be a sold-out game. But what about a game against, let's say I don't have their schedule pulled up, but like what about a home game against Rutgers? Like, what do you think
Maryland
that produces from a fan standpoint?
That is the key. Cincinnati probably will sell out. Ohio State, I'm shocked if it's not already sold out.
Right.
But you're exactly right. These Maryland games, those games that are just middlings, I don't know. That's going to be the true indicator to me on where the fan level is, because, how hard is it to sell out a top 10 matchup? That's what the Cincinnati game would be if Indiana wins at Iowa.
Right.
So that should be, and if they beat Cincinnati, well, that also changes the course. I think the season, if they win at Iowa, that sets a tone, and so that's going to increase more awareness or more desire. And if they beat Cincinnati, that they could sell out the rest of the season.
Well, I mean, up here, people say there's no such thing as the Indiana football fan. It's the Indiana basketball fan and the Notre Dame football fan. And I take such an exception to that, maybe because I'm more of a IU football fan than I am an IU basketball fan. That kind of stems from how I grew up. I loved football, and my dad had season tickets. But I just think the reason why they don't fill up Memorial Stadium isn't because there's not IU football fans. It's just you have to give people a reason to dedicate an entire Saturday to that product. And you just historically hasn't been the case. And now that there is a case, now that the facilities and the game day experience matches up with or is on par with the product on the field, I don't think there's any more excuses. In recent past, it used to be, I'm not going to go down there because I'm going to be leaving by the third quarter. The tickets are too expensive based on the team's success. or I don't want to fight the traffic on 37 or 37 construction and 69. It's too much of a mess right now. I think for the most part, all of that has been smoothed out outside of the construction, which you just can't. I mean, you have no control over that. But I just think the excuses and the reasons of not going have basically evaporated. And now I want to see a Memorial Stadium back Tom Allen the way it should, because he's a great guy, a great ambassador for the university, obviously for the program, and everything that you've wanted IU football to be, at least in the last 2 years, they have been.
Absolutely, and you're right. There is no more excuses. They've taken a perennial doormat and turned it into a contender, and that takes unbelievable
and tickets. And again, you would know more than me, but as far as I'm concerned, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the tickets, compared to other Big Ten teams, especially in their division, the Big Ten East, are incredibly affordable compared to Michigan and Ohio State, right?
Well, they made a great adjustment. It used to be it was one cost, didn't matter where you sat. Now the tickets are tiered. They have different ticket pricing, which, it's very unusual for someone to have one price for tickets. But so they've done that, which I think has also increased the affordability for some of these tickets. To increase affordability for a family, a family of four. That's rough. I mean, and it doesn't matter where you're talking about. If you're taking a family of four someplace, it's got to be economical. But that certainly helps in that regard. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the Colts. It's going to be a season for them because you've got a new quarterback. So you've got a new situation there, a lot of new pieces in that. And their fans they're looking for a winner this year in Indianapolis.
And I think they can get it. Obviously the AFC is pretty tough. I mean, I saw win totals the other day from USA Today. Tennessee, who won the division last year, I saw 11 and 12 wins. For the Colts, I saw somewhere around 9 or 10 wins. It sounds cliche, and you say it every year, and it's definitely true. But even more so this year with 17 games, and you play those first 5 games of the season against some pretty tough competition. You got the Dolphins, you got the Titans, and then you've got the Ravens. 3 of your first 5 games. I think those are going to be games that you're going to need to win because you're talking about tiebreaker scenarios and head-to-head matchups and things like that are going to have implications on the Colts towards the end of the season when it comes to playoff time and playoff seedings and where you go in terms of the matchups in the month of January and February. So it's going to be an exciting season, but here's the thing. The Colts, they've been real about it. It's first things first. We got to win the division. We got to win the division for the first time since 2014. We got to get back to being kind of the top dog on the block in the AFC South. And again, every single team in the AFC South has won the division in the time that the Colts last won the AFC South. So got to get back to doing that. And then they got to take the next step. And the next step, just from a big picture standpoint, is beating teams that are, better than you on paper or on par with you. Last year, 9 of the Colts' 11 wins came against teams that were under 500. They were 1-4 against teams that made the AFC playoffs. So it's clear what they got to do. They got to take the next step. They're beating the teams they should. Now they just got to, take the next step and beat some quality competition and set themselves up in a favorable situation to make the playoffs and have seeding advantages over some of these teams that they're going to play in the regular season.
Absolutely. Matt, I cannot thank you enough, man. We could not come to Lucas Oil Stadium without talking to you. It worked out perfectly.
It's looking good. I'm kind of jealous that you're there right now, so it's looking good. So
I wish
be
you
there
were
soon.
here. Well,
you got it.
Thank you, Matt. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to the field here at Lucas Oil Stadium with Dustin Schutte right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by 80 More Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're looking for...
Hey, he made it.
Joan, step up anytime you want, so if he comes over, I've got a third headset.
Dustin, can you hear me? Oh, he can't hear me. Shit.
If either of those guys come up, we'll put him in the middle. Actually, won't you sit there? Over? And then that way we'll have the middle open, and I'm going to rearrange this so we'll hit it. Actually, don't sit that far. Okay. All right, so scoot over till you're in the picture.
There we go. How's that? Good?
Scoot him over just a little bit more.
A little bit more. You can squeeze in a little bit more right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll make room for. That's perfect. Actually, we can set them right here.
What time's this segment?
What time?
Yeah, what time to go to?
We'll go till right before 10 o'clock.
About 10:05.
You need to leave at a certain time.
10:05.
We'll be out by 10.
That'll give me time to get up there.
He can't hear me, so tell him we'll be out by 10.
We'll be out by 10.
Perfect.
It was a bitch getting on this morning. Imagine me.
Yeah, I can.
I was like, well, it's let you in at 9. I go, no. I go
All
on.
right. Tell him we got 30 seconds. He can't hear me. That's why I'm telling you to tell him that.
Well, Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington's got you covered. They're Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. For deals like this, how about a new 2020 Honda Civic LX front-wheel drive lease for just $180 a month, or a new 2021 Honda Accord LX front-wheel drive lease for just $270 a month. Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back here on this Thursday, coming to you live. I think we lost ourselves, so John, there you go. Just kind of scared me there for a second. Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition joining us here as we were coming to you from the field here at Lucas Oil Stadium as the Big Ten Media Days for 2021 kickoff. Dustin, is the first time I said we've gotten to do this in 2 years. Yes, people. It is. I mean, there's people everywhere. We get to talk to the coaches face to face. Other than running in to them someplace in town, there's been none of that. Players and all that. They seem excited to be out here. They're walking around. I've seen Coach Bleem already, Fleck. Those guys are out and about. It's just fun getting out into this atmosphere.
Yeah, and after everything we had to deal with 2020 and COVID and all that, and just being able to have these interactions with players, with coaches, it's an awesome atmosphere already. And I got to tell you right now, we're about 30 yards away. This is the closest I've ever been to an end zone scoring a touchdown. So I'm excited just to be here. It's fun to be back after we didn't have this last year, doing it all virtually.
Yeah, security to the rest of you because you're a Pacer, is that right?
Oh yeah, that's probably true. Yep, I wasn't wearing any of my bright red
your
Tour de France gear. Exactly.
Yeah, but very cool doing this here. This is like they do it at the Super Bowl. This is how they should always do it from now on.
I agree.
The hotel thing, man, ballrooms are out. Football. Why would they not do it this way? It's how they do the Super Bowl, and it works. It's been doing it for years, and it's perfectly. And everything is, you've got wide open spaces here. It's perfect. And I think it should move to Indianapolis, and it should be permanently here. They start the season here, and you end the season here. You crown a champion in December, and that's going to be a great season to see where we get to. On the west side, I have no idea. I mean, I can guess like everybody else, Wisconsin, Iowa, because everyone's going to say those two teams, but I don't know how good Iowa really is. I know they're going to be solid because they always are. Wisconsin's going to be probably solid. They always are. But I don't know of any of those teams that are supposed to be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be what you said. All eyeballs are going to be on Wisconsin. They're going to be on Iowa. I think you got to pay attention to Minnesota this year. I think they're going to have probably one of the most explosive offenses in the Big Ten this year. You talk about Ohio State. We talk about Indiana all the time, obviously, but they'll be right up there in that category. I think when you look at some of the other teams in the West, Purdue's looking to bounce back after 2 down years. Northwestern just won the Big Ten 2 times in the last 3 seasons, so you can never count them out. What we're going to see from Nebraska, they have their most veteran team under Scott Frost in his 4 seasons. So, and then Brett Bielema, obviously, he's bringing a little rejuvenation. He's got over 20 super seniors, I believe. So, the West is a wide open race. Any given Saturday, one team can beat another team. Typically we talk about the Big Ten East and the powers have kind of separated themselves. This year it's going to be Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana has worked their way into that conversation, in my opinion. But the West, you're right. Who knows? It could be any of 4 teams. Wisconsin and Iowa will be the favorite, but I think you got to put Minnesota and Northwestern in that conversation as well.
How much pressure's on DJ Fleck? I talked about him earlier. It's his 5th season. Fourth season. He elevated the program pretty quickly, but they seem to have leveled off. To me, I mean, I don't cover them obviously, other than Big Ten, but it just seems like they've kind of leveled off a little bit.
Well, first of all, I think you were right this season. I think I messed up there, but when you think about what happened last season, they had their 2 best offensive linemen opt out. They had their best defensive players from the 2019 season didn't return. But what they have returning now is they have Boye Mafe on the defensive line. They have Mariano Sori-Marin at linebacker and Coney Durant in the secondary. So you have your best player returning at all 3 levels of the game. So I think their defense is going to be better. It's still a huge question mark to me. But when you look at Mohamed Ibrahim rushing for over 1,000 yards, nearly 1,100 in 7 games last year, 15 touchdowns, and they get their 2 best offensive linemen back, that's why I have a lot of hope and optimism for Minnesota this year. I'm not saying they'll be 11-2, but I think they're going to be a tough out, and I think they can win 8-9 games this season.
They could be one of the favorites to win that division,
yeah,
depending on how things go. And the fact that we're sitting here talking about wide open offenses in the Big Ten, first of all, that's hilarious. And Indiana's one of those,
yes,
and Minnesota is one of those. It's mind-boggling. And then you got Purdue, Jeff Fromm. They're not, but that's how he runs. If these offenses were all clicking, this is not your grandpa's Big Ten offensively. I mean, it has changed. When you look at Indiana, they bring all these players from Florida. You're bringing up speed. You're bringing up skill players. And the Big Ten was known as a running, sluggish, 3 yards in a cloud of dust for so long. And Ohio State's changing that. But you have to keep up. I mean, and that's Indiana's elevated. I think they've done as good a job as anybody as adding critical pieces around the units. Of course, I've found it more than anyone else. But you look at everything, they've added the pieces. What have they not added that they need?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you look at now is Indiana has the skill position players. Indiana has kind of had underrated skill position players over the last 20 years. They've always had good guys. We've talked about Tevin Coleman. We've talked about guys like Nick Westbrook. They've always had those guys. Where they've struggled has been on the offensive and defensive line. They can't get those big bodies up there. They struggle up front. And I think that's what you're starting to see Tom Allen address. We talked about the flashy linebacker, the 4-star and 5-star guys who are keeping Indiana in the top 5, top 10 of their recruiting lists. And so I think all that Indiana's really missing now is stronger offensive line play. And if they get that addressed and get that corrected, they're going to be a continual team. I mean, that's why Wisconsin and Iowa, year in, year out, are so good. You know that they're going to go to a bowl game. You know that they're going to be contending at the top of their division. And it's because they're so good along the offensive line. So if Indiana can start to recruit those type of players on the offensive line that they're getting at the skill position players and develop that talent, they're going to be a tough out. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the offenses work so well. They struggled in the running game, and we see that kind of throughout the course of a season. That's why the ground they haven't been quite as efficient as you'd like to see, because they just don't have the depth on the offensive line that some of these other teams have. And so I think when you address that, that's what's going to make Indiana more sustainable. And I think Tom Allen's done a good job of that so far.
2 days ago, they get another commitment from Philip Dunham, safety out of Miami. Not a high-profile kid, but another Florida get, which just adds to that, because who does he know? That goes the Taiwan Mullen thing, it just spreads. That continues to spread their recruiting base there. Today, a decision is coming with Joe Strickland that I've said it, I think, because he's announcing today. It's not a coincidence with Big Ten Media Days starting that it's got to be Indiana or Purdue. I would think. And with Brom and Coach Allen both speaking tomorrow, one of those guys are going to be happy and one's not. And then I went on to know, I can't see him picking Purdue over Indiana. It's just because of the programs are just, Indiana is trending up, and there's no denying that. And it's just been elevated in every way, and I would be surprised. Actually, the bigger thing is the movement that I keep calling now. There was a deal a few years ago in basketball with Christian Watford. They called it the movement. Well, to me, I was talking to Matt earlier, this is a movement. You've got all these 4-star in-state players that have come to Indiana now, and then they're trying to pull this last one in. That is a movement. That is Indiana didn't even hardly get 4 stars. Now you're getting your own 4 stars, and they're trying to pull the last good player in. That is a movement, and that is another key to Indiana elevating their recruiting right here at home.
Right, and I think the big thing is you mentioned Purdue and Indiana on different trajectories. It's kind of been really interesting. Jeff Brom got off to a hot start and goes 6-6, 7-6, getting to a bowl game after Purdue
beat Ohio State
at the bottom of the Big Ten. They beat Ohio State.
About 3 touchdowns, wasn't it?
Their recruiting had been top 25, top 30, depending on what network you're looking at. And then the past couple of years, been down in the record and in the recruiting rankings. And then you look at Indiana, kind of a little bit the opposite. Indiana started out, they weren't bad, 5-7, but couldn't quite get over that hump. Had some close losses to teams like Michigan, Ohio State, had some tough losses against Purdue, the old Oak and Bucket game for a couple of years there, determined bowl eligibility. But ever since that 8-5 season, you've seen Indiana's recruiting skyrocket. And so there's a lot of momentum right now. And Purdue, when you're top in-state contender, I mean, Purdue and Indiana aren't competing with Notre Dame right now. But when you're starting to win those recruiting battles, these were the kids that Jeff Brom was getting 2-3 years ago, and Tom Allen's starting to get those kids now. So that's why you see the trajectory, and that's why there's more optimism about Indiana football than there is Purdue. And it's very rare when that's been the case.
The one thing that surprised me about Purdue is, and Jeff, they've not really recruited a good quarterback. I mean, a good quarterback. That is Jeff Brom. That's what he's all about. He was a good quarterback. He was a tough quarterback, a smart quarterback. He's a good coach. I mean, I like him as a person. But they have not. You had David Bell. You had Rondale Moore. But you didn't have a quarterback. Indiana's got a room full of them. Right now, they've got a room full of quarterbacks that could potentially all start at Purdue, I think. At least 3 of them. Todd Penix, of course, and I don't know if McCullough's there yet because I don't know what the training he's been through, but I guarantee you'd like to have him.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I think what's interesting, we talk about Tom Allen. Some of the part of recruiting is you want to get the kids who have the right attitude, who have the right mindset, who fit your system. And so part of me wonders if Jeff Brom is looking more about the attitude or the mechanics, something more so than the 4 and the 5-star ranking, or who's evaluating it. Because you're right, they haven't had a great quarterback, but there's never been really a time when you say, Purdue's quarterback play is off. It's not been great, but it hasn't been the reason they've lost games. The reason they've lost games is because of their defense. And so they've had no trouble getting the ball in the hands of Rondale Moore, David Bell, some of the other receivers that they've had over the past couple of seasons. But it is interesting that you don't see more of the 4-star guys saying, you know what, we're going to throw the ball around the field 100 times a game. That's the kind of offense I want to fit into. We'll see what happens. They've got I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, but they do have a 4-star guy coming in. He might challenge for the starting job right away. Jeff Brom's a great developer of quarterback talent, so maybe he doesn't put as much emphasis on getting the 4- and 5-star guys at that position, but it has been very interesting to see. I would say Indiana's out-recruited them in terms of overall quarterback talent the last couple of seasons.
Absolutely. And how funny is it that how often do we see when the head coach is an offensive-minded coach, their defense is not good? Think of Kevin Wilson, trying to win games 48-46, that kind of stuff. You can't do that. That's not sustaining. That's living on a wing and a prayer. And those teams are going to be Midland teams. And you're right. Indiana was fortunate in that Tom Allen secured the defense before he became the head coach. He had it going in the right direction because at first under Kevin Wilson, it was the same thing. It was what the Rutgers, they gave up 3 touchdowns in the second half game 5 years ago or something. I'm like, are you kidding me? At home, no less, in the fourth quarter. But yeah, trust me, the pain, all that stuff. I never forget any of that stuff. But man, it's going to be fun. Hopefully, you can stop back by tomorrow. We have Tom Allen on in the morning, right off the bat, 9. You're welcome to join us. The players with Jeff Brom will be here at 9:40 of it, third break. So just gonna have fun.
I was able to sneak in past security today, so if I'm able to do it again tomorrow, I'll be here and we'll have some fun again.
Yeah, I don't have my credential yet. I've been. Your chair is actually sitting on the temporary credential that I was able to get from somebody down the hallway. But
Just have it wrinkled up in your pocket.
Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat as he always does. We're coming to you live from the Big Ten Media Football Days here from the field at Lucas Oil Stadium. Back with more after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Thanks,
Oh, you bet.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're
Sweet. Hopefully I don't have hopefully it's not as long tomorrow to try to get in. That might help me out.
Well, look at all my.
How did you
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. See? I got what?
how did you get in here early?
It was not easy. I went to the first gate. I said, well, you can try the ramp. He told me, well, you can try this next one. And I went in there and said, man, I got to get inside. I got a radio show to start tomorrow. And she had to give me that to get me in. I still got to go back out and get that.
I wonder if I could if I can get in.
Well, you're in.
No, I mean tomorrow. If I can get in 10 minutes early. But they don't.
All you need is that.
They still don't.
Come around the far one. Okay. Or actually go down that ramp. Walk down that ramp and show them that. Okay. Once you have the credentials, you're good.
I'll shoot you a text tomorrow morning.
Where you staying?
My dad's inside.
All right, I gotta take my phone.
I don't think we crossed each other yet. Like I say, it's great to get back home.
That's all I've been talking about. It's great.
Hey, just to see a live body.
I know.
That's what I just.
Not on a video screen.
Pound pimp process. First guess, I'm like, well, pound it, man. All right, we're live. Yeah, it's just good to be in front of people.
It is. We're fortunate. We're lucky. I told you when to get back, but I'm Ed Bond.
Nice to meet you, Ed.
Illinois Radio.
Actually, independent Indiana Sports Beat Radio. I'm in Bloomington. I also own Indiana Live on Starwell.
Okay. All right.
You guys in Champaign?
Yeah. So we're the lead radio station for the Illinois Radio Network.
Gotcha. You didn't have
Indiana.
like Learfield.
He's Learfield. And for Indiana.
Yeah, he does all of it.
But he's working today for B1G or something.
All right.
You know what?
You there? Okay, yeah, you're hooked up. Okay, here we go. 15 seconds.
On 86th Street in Indy have a long list of craft beers and all of the right foods to go with. Plan a day on the links at Eagle Point in Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink. This segment is brought to you by Sam's Family of Restaurants. Fresh, local, family. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you live from the floor here at Lucas Oil Stadium, downtown Indianapolis, for 2021 Big Ten Football Media Days. Great to be out here and be live. Looking forward to talking to Philip Dunham in a little bit, Indiana's latest commitment, as they are waiting for yet another announcement today. Joe Strickland to make his announcement. We're going to get Philip on, John.
Yeah, I'm about to give him a call here in a few minutes, and then I'm also checking in with Chris Denari, see if he's going to join for this segment. He's usually here.
Okay. All right. Well, Stephen Carr named to the Doak Walker watch. Pretty nice for having a transfer come in of that caliber. First-year running back. Stephen Carr's been named to the Doak Walker watch list, which goes to the top running back in college football. Carr transferred to Indiana earlier this year from the University of Southern California, where he was recruited by coach running back Delon McCullough, who was at USC at the time. Carr hails from California, rushed for 2,100 yards and 31 touchdowns as a high school senior before setting in on Southern California. He's just a good running back, and it adds to possibly one of the biggest deficiencies Indiana did have. If you want to call it, I wouldn't call it a deficiency. It just wasn't a great addition. It didn't add much. The running game has not done a lot for Indiana the last couple of years. I think that you're going to see a big difference with that this year. Not just because of Delon McCullough, but I think that he is going to make a difference with the talent that he has. But you've got a guy like this that comes in. This is kind of it's his last shot too. So he wants to put on a great show and hopefully have a career. But looking forward to seeing those guys go. Looking forward to seeing the increased productivity coming out of that backfield this year with Delon McCullough coaching that. But Philip Dunham is going to join us here, hopefully here soon. Yesterday he actually was supposed to join us, but he ended up having practice. Hopefully tomorrow we will be talking to Tom Allen to start the show, I believe. Jeff Rob's going to join us. I think we might have the Indiana players in between there. I know Michael Penix is coming up, Ty Freifogel, and Micah McFadden. Those are the three players from Indiana that will be coming up tomorrow. So everything's getting started here during the day. Speaking, it's not done by divisions here. It's, I think, 3 of the Big Ten East. Harbaugh ends the day. You've got Maryland's coach speaking today, and I can't remember who the third coach was at this time, but the others are from the west side. I know PJ Fleck is here. We're going to try to get him on today. Brett Bielema is around as well. If we can grab him, we'll try to grab him. So trying to get those guys as well, but looking forward to that. And Chris Denari. We'll talk a little basketball. As we didn't get to talk to him as the NBA Finals wrapped up last week. You know what? I think, is it last week? Was he off last week, John?
Yeah, that's why I thought he was going to be joining us today, because it was either last week or the week before that he was on vacation.
Yeah, I think it was I can't remember. Too hard to keep up with. But, I'm looking forward to football in general. The tailgating, I mean, I don't get to participate in that much because we're working and doing things, but I'd love to see all of that just increase. It's good for everything. It's good for the city. It's good for the school. It's good for all the programs. Football is a sport that is, if it's good at a school, it just makes everything better. It's fall. It's fun. It leads into everything else. It's kicking off the school year. And if you kick off the school year with a great football program, I mean, going up to Michigan State 2 years ago for that game, their tailgating was immense. They're everywhere. And that's like it is at most bigger programs. So I'd like to see that happen in Indiana. Indiana is one of the smaller schools in the Big Ten. They've got, if not the smallest, one of the smallest stadiums in the Big Ten. So their tailgating is kind of matching accordingly. But you'd certainly like to see that increase, and that does. It all happens with winning. I'm not hitting on a lot of the comments today because I've got we're sitting away from it. And actually, I don't think that I could click on him. I was going to click on Glenn. He had the gold nose up. Couldn't see what he was saying, but
here, just I can start shuffling through the comments for you, and you can go through them.
Anything that's relevant, of course. Gold nose, of course. Hey, shout out to Coach Bobby Bowden, dealing with terminal illness. Oh man, former Florida State coach. Heck yeah, he was a character, a great character. Please send him your thoughts and prayers. He was funny. You talk about a guy that was good for college football. He was it. Just a good guy. Even in losses, he was kind of funny. $85 for Ohio State tickets for adults in the decent seat section. That's not. Is that on the resale market? So we're getting resales. But yeah, looking to see Indiana football tickets prices increase. That's kind of funny. That there was a day when they couldn't give them away, and now if you're looking at games where they're on the black market, that's when you know a program is on the rise. Now, of course, Ohio State is the biggest part of that, and Ohio State fans are going to be driving that because they're accustomed to taking their party on the road, especially one that's as close as Indiana is, and they've always been able to acquire basically as many seats as they want because Indiana fans either give them up, don't buy them. Hopefully that's not as much the case this year. Hopefully more Indiana fans were able to get those tickets acquired before Ohio State did. But we'll find out as that rolls around. But the fact that it's not sold out yet, a little surprising. I would think that they would be a lot closer to that one just being done. I mean, the Cincinnati game, of course, there's a great game. Surprises me that the Ohio State fans have not cleaned that up. But Darren's going to be at the Cincinnati game. They've got about a 27% increase in ticket sales right now. So that should hopefully help. The crowd is a big part, and this year they're going to be able to be a part. Last year, Indiana was able to get through road games without having to deal with it and win at home without that on their side. But now they're going to have to deal with that this year. They're going to have to go to Michigan. They're going to have to go to Penn State again. They've done it before. It's not like it's something new, but it makes a difference. Like I said, you play a marginal Michigan team, you're not playing a marginal team because you're playing against a marginal Michigan team with 110,000 people that are extraordinarily loud. You cannot hear yourself talk in that stadium, I assure you. So it makes a difference, and it can alter a football game. Hopefully Indiana can get past that. Because there's going to be some tests on the road that could definitely structure how their season finishes. I still think they go 9-3 with the tough road games they have at Iowa, at Michigan, at Penn State, at home against Cincinnati and Ohio State. Those are 5 unbelievably tough games. I think they win at least 3 of those games, and that's pretty damn good. I think they beat Cincinnati at home. I think they beat Michigan on the road for the first time since 1967. The other game, I'm going with the upset at Iowa as for Indiana. So that would be a tremendous. Starting the season with a win at Iowa would be about as good as anything Indiana could do because you kickstart a season with a Big Ten road win over a top 20 opponent. That's never happened. That would be another first, I think, for Indiana. And then 2 games in, you have a home game that is going to be a top 10 matchup if that's the case. As far as Saturday game day, everybody would love to see Indiana on Saturday game day, but a big part of the reason they're not is because the Big Ten is on Fox mostly. And Fox has the rights to those games, Fox with the Big Ten Network. That's why you don't see, other than the big games, you don't see Indiana-Cincinnati. That would be a great college game day scenario. The one that I think they're going to have a hard time turning down is Indiana-Ohio State. If Indiana is somehow manages to stay unbeaten. Forrest says Maryland's a trap game at Maryland. Funny he says that. It's a Tevin Coleman's 2016, I think they played at Maryland. I think it was that year. That was a game they should have won. I can't remember if they lost that game. It was a similar scenario, and it was a trap game situation. And that's funny. Indiana is usually been the trap game. Now they are looking at avoiding trap games. It's a new scenario. It's you're becoming the big man on campus, and so things are different. Now you have a target on your back instead of the hunter. You have become the hunted by a lot of people, and you're still a hunter a little bit as you try to climb. But now you've got all these other teams trying to claw up your back. Maryland, Rutgers, Michigan State, even Michigan probably this year. So Indiana's going to have a target on their back that these teams need to beat Indiana, and Indiana's not unbeatable. And that's what's in their mind. Indiana has to make it that way. But I'm just looking forward to an incredibly exciting season. We're trying to get Philip Dunham on, the newest commitment. Hopefully we can get to him. And then, of course, see if we can get a couple of these coaches to come by, stop by as they're bouncing around with their radio networks right now. But thanks for all the comments. No fraternizing with the Illini enemy. Illinois sitting behind me. You've got Nebraska over here. They're just up and down the road here. But, yeah, it's good seeing all these and listening in to the conversations. You can hear the excitement, and that's why you do this. It kicks off everything. Fix this. I know that glare is kind of bad. I need to turn that. Sorry about that. Those are big TV lights up here at Lucas Oil Stadium. But, yeah, you can feel the excitement. I haven't even been back over to the main dais to see, but the TV set, the Big Ten Network TV set is over there behind me where the lights are off now for that. But they're set up over there as well. But it's just going to be an exciting day. We got lots more coming up live from Lucas Oil Stadium, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're looking for...
So I got sent a voicemail by Philip again. So I don't really know. There's nothing else we can do about that.
Okay, who else did I have? Anybody else?
Not scheduled, no.
Okay, all right.
You got about 2.5 minutes to find somebody if you want to.
We could really use somebody to say this. So we're going to start trying hard once we get back.
You got about a minute and a half.
Greg, how you doing, buddy?
You have 1 minute. Hey, for those of you watching, feel free to load up the comment section with some questions that we can go through while we're waiting to get some guests.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a lot better.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring us back in.
New or used vehicle, Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington's got you covered. They're Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. For deals like this, how about a new 2020 Honda Civic LX front-wheel drive lease for just $180 a month? Or a new 2021 Honda Accord LX front-wheel drive lease for just $270 a month. Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
How's everybody doing today as we are coming to you live from the field here at Lucas Oil Stadium for the 2021 Big Ten Media Football Days? Glad to be out and about live and with some real people. I hate that shining light there, but the TV lights at Lucas Oil Stadium, pretty bright. The players are out and about right now for there's Illinois behind me, Nebraska next to me. Some of the coaches that are going to be speaking. Indiana's Tom Allen will be speaking tomorrow. He will be joining us here on the program. Michael Penix, Michael McFadden, and Ty Freifogel as well. And then Jeff Braun from Purdue tomorrow, so looking forward to that. Any Colts player sightings? Nope. No, they probably do not come to this building unless they absolutely have to. Who will be the starting running back for Indiana? You know, that's actually a great question. That is actually a great question. Will it be Stephen Carr? Will it be Samson James? But how is it not Stephen Carr if he was just put on the Doak Walker watch list? That kind of tells me, but that's media. That's media that has not seen him take a snap at Indiana. So I can't answer that, but that's a great question. I think it will end up being Stephen Carr, but I don't know that starting running back in this offense matters a lot. It's who's going to be the running back that gets the job done is actually not a better question. Another question, because like I said, they just haven't added anything to the offense for the last couple of years. And that's been, to me, the one thing that keeps them from really becoming an elite offense. They have an elite quarterback. They have elite skill players. The offensive line it's been okay. That hurts too, but it has not. I don't think the offensive line is why the running game has not produced a lot. I just don't think that Stevie Scott was a pounder. He just would get you a yard here or two, but he did not break off any runs. The longest run I ever remember him running was maybe 15 yards, 20 possibly. You have to have a guy that can break it. He doesn't have to break it all the time, but he has to have the ability. He has to have some speed to get out and turn that corner. A game, not necessarily a game changer, but a play changer. I mean, you have to have a guy. If you're going to play Big Ten football, elite, you have to be good at running back, quarterback, receiver, defense. You cannot be suspect in those areas. And I think that's going to be a big difference for Indiana this season on how well they elevate. The defense is already solid. We know that. Michael Penix, of course, can he stay healthy? You saw if Joe Strickland commits today, then they will move to the 12th ranked recruiting class in the nation, just behind Michigan with a couple of less recruits. And Josh just said if he just saw that if Joe Strickland commits, would move Indiana to 12th nationally. That, first of all, is crazy to be able to say out loud. Top 20 is crazy to be able to say out loud. But that's where you are. But this will make next year better and the following year better. And that's how you start really moving up the ladder. When you have a recruiting class next to a Michigan, even though Michigan is not as good right now, it doesn't matter. They're historically going to out-recruit a lot of programs. Tom Allen has elevated Indiana to rare air. Chris thinks Indiana needs a fridge for red zone plays. Never hurts if you got a guy that can bust it in there. But a running game period is something that they just a good running game they need for this offense. And I think Dylan McCullough will get that done. He has the talent. Samson James is good. Stephen Carr is good. David Ellis, you can use him. They have a lot of talent that can and will be used this season without question. Health, and depth. First of all, at the quarterback position, of course, Michael Penix. Got to stay healthy. You've got to keep him healthy. I think they do. He's going to make the whole season. You do have Jack Tuttle, who is an experienced quarterback. The good thing about last year is Jack Tuttle got some experience, which will be a good help to him. But you want to see Michael Penix in the game at all times. He is a game changer at any moment, and Indiana has the players on the other end to do that. And if you add a running game to that, that's going to make Indiana a formidable opponent against virtually everybody. And like I said, there's not a team in the league that they cannot beat, and that includes Ohio State. They can beat them. They showed that they could do it last year. But beating them, winning, you can win a bowl game, but doing it is another thing. They've got to do it to keep moving up. And hopefully they get that done. It's going to be exciting. How many of you have tickets? How many of you are season ticket holders? How many of you have bought tickets? If you're not a season ticket holder, do you have singles tickets? Which games are you going to? Man, I woke up today and all my apps were missing on my phone. That is not fun. But it is a blast to be coming to you from the floor here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Commissioner Kevin Warren speaking actually right now. And actually, if I had a box, I could plug into that for you. So, John, you want to try that? You want to listen to what Commissioner Warren is talking about right now, which I'm sure it's whatever it is.
If you have a place to plug it in, we can give that a shot if you want. Or you want me to hook up from like the stream or something?
No, I got a place where I can plug in. But it's really, I didn't know he was going to be off this soon, or I would have done that in a break. But the coaches begin speaking after Commissioner Warren. PJ Flex, the first coach to get up there. But Commissioner Warren, he's kind of lived a lucky life. He did not do a good job last year. Let's just be frank and honest. His level of communication was not good. His decision-making, not good, in my opinion. He hurt the league last year. He hurt teams in the league last year. I know it was his first season as commissioner, but I think that when that's the case, you should be surrounded by people that can be of great assistance and make better decisions. Because you're the head of a large corporation, and those decisions dictate how well that corporation continues to fly. There's no question the Big Ten took a hit last year. It took a hit on perception. It took a hit in other people's perceptions of some of the programs. Indiana still gets disrespected a ton. And when your commissioner sets things up that goes along with that, that doesn't help. And I don't know that if the league is always looking out for the league or looking out for the best teams in the league, if that's what's more important to them. But What's the best storyline so far regarding media? None. Zero, Glenn, because all of our stuff is tomorrow, and Commissioner Warren is speaking now, and I can't hear what he's saying. So other than the best storyline actually is being here, Glenn. Being here is absolutely, without question, the best storyline. It is doing this face-to-face, doing it live, being here where you can shake hands with people and see them face-to-face and sit down with them. That is absolutely, without question, the best storyline. It is just great to get out and about. It's a pain to do all this, but it doesn't matter. It's well worth it. So, yeah, that's actually the best storyline. And thinking about leading into games and what's coming up for that this season. Indiana starting off at Iowa, the schedule that they have, Cincinnati at home. It's just going to be fun. And that's, to me, is having a season is the storyline, getting to it. We've got September 4th, so was it 6 weeks? By the calendars, 6-7 weeks thereabouts. Josh says, "What's the schedule for the player from here to the season? What is the first official practice?" I believe they start a week from now. A week from Saturday, I believe. As I believe is when fall camp begins. So they'll go back and continue doing prep work, lifting, conditioning, all that kind of thing. And then fall camp, I believe, starts 1 week from Saturday. So looking forward to that. Getting out to practice and watching that. I'm going to try to go to some Colts practices, as we were talking to Matt Taylor earlier, but it's difficult getting up there to do that. So let's go ahead and take one more break, and I'll be back to finish it out live from Lucas Oil Stadium, Big Ten Media Days, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're looking for...
Well, man.
You braked a little early. Are you going to end early?
I thought you said take a break.
No, did I even text you?
Somebody else did, and your text had not been looked at. Jesus.
We can end. Hey, remember, we're only sending an hour to Evansville. If you need to end early, like in 20 minutes instead of 30 minutes, that's fine.
Yeah, being by myself there, I can't go get people to bring them home.
Continuing our commitment to protect the physical and mental of athletes. Prior to the upcoming fall season, we will announce the hiring of chief medical officer. Big Ten continues to illustrate the importance of diversity in our leadership ranks, the conference office, and on our campuses. Since January 2020, we've had 5 presidents starting.
I just wanted to say hi.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Congratulations.
Well, second. How's everything in Great.
For example,
Those 3 jobs, you gotta take my players. Fox, about 5 minutes. Jeff has coming in. He's good.
Is there more?
Professionals in the art of food and drink.
Hey, that does it for me. He left.
We're just gonna sit here and wait it out till Jim gets back. Our break is over, but Jim's having a conversation with somebody, it seems. So we'll just wait it out.
You're just here today? I'll bounce around it.
Hey, are you gonna play Kevin Warren? Is that what you're doing right now? Can you hear me?
Hold on.
Okay.
So you can't hear him talking?
No, not through your stuff. Nope.
I can hear it into the headphones.
That's probably what you got. You probably got to get hooked up to the laptop.
What? I've got the mic plugged directly into the headphones.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me on this one?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me on this one?
Yes, sir.
Do you hear Kevin Warren?
Not through your stuff. I hear him on the back speaker, like the echo in the stadium.
Can you hear me on this?
Yes, sir.
All right, back.
All right, let me go ahead and do a quick thing.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Stadium. 2021 Big Ten Football Media is underway here today in Indianapolis. Commissioner Kevin Warren up on the dais right now speaking. I just heard him talk about a couple of things. Barry Alvarez from Wisconsin joining the conference in some capacity. I couldn't hear everything he was saying as a special advisor. RBO Spencer, that's kind of scary. It always is scary to me when someone from a school gets a powerful position at the conference or at the NCAA. You see that all the time, but oh well. I'd say that Kevin Warren could certainly need some advising, as I spoke to earlier. Exactly, those are the types of people he needs around him. Long-time experienced people of the conference. But but I think it should be a group, a small committee, not one person. RBL's Princess Bar. Nope, wrong one. Reading the comments there. Sean says, in your opinion, Indiana versus Ohio State, prime time, 8 p.m. Fox game potential. If they're unbeaten, I don't know. How do you not? I mean, but Fox sometimes does that on purpose because they're trying to increase that noon slot. But I can't imagine if Indiana were to be unbeaten and Ohio State were unbeaten. That would just be primetime TV, man. But who knows? Indiana has been a very well-rated game anytime they're on TV. Chris says, are you going to record some things from today and tomorrow, or things going on after you close? Yeah, there's tons of things going on. We're going to continue to get all of that. We're meeting with coaches, players. We're going to be doing interviews afterwards. So, yes, there's going to be a ton of stuff for us to gather once we finish. Our show is happening. It's going on right now before a lot of the stuff is happening. Recording it not live now, but we will get to all that. So we can have that for you. But we will have Michael Penix and the players tomorrow, Tom Allen on tomorrow, Jeff Brom on tomorrow, whatever else we can get on tomorrow. It's going to be a big show. Thank you, Glenn. Looking forward to that. We didn't have to, just wanted to go ahead and come here today and get set up. And we could have done it from the studio today, but it's better to be here. Michael Penix Jr. is listed on numerous betting sites as a candidate for the 2021 Heisman Trophy Award. And he should be. The only reason he's not gotten more pub, well, because he hasn't stayed healthy. But being on Indiana used to really, really hurt me. But if Michael Penix has a great year, if they were to beat Ohio State, that's not going to hurt him this year. I truly believe he could. If Indiana has that great season, that magical, unbelievable season that you cannot imagine an Indiana program having, I do not think that Indiana across his chest is going to hurt him, as it did to many other people. Tevin Coleman, for example, talked about that. One of only 18 guys to ever rush for over 2,000 yards in the season. He doesn't get an invite to New York. Are you kidding me? That was ridiculous. But that was because he played for Indiana. As ridiculous as that is. But Michael Penix has gotten enough attention. Tom Allen has gotten enough attention. Indiana is getting enough attention. They're on ranked teams now. Yeah, Jennifer says you need to keep Michael Penix in bubble wrap. Yeah, unfortunately, that wouldn't have solved his last couple of injuries. But, yeah, whatever they can do to keep him healthy, because he is the secret sauce. And it's not that Jack Tuttle's not a good quarterback. He is. Michael Penix is just special. But, man, you got to – let's just see if it can happen. I think it will. Like I said, it's very difficult, though. Coming back from 2 knee injuries, that is something that very few people can do. Very few people have done in football. At the quarterback level, that's even more crazy to ask of someone. But that's his career, and so you have to keep going forward. Hopefully, he has the best year yet. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. You got any more questions or comments you need to get to, John?
Let's see. One more just came in, and we can take a look at that if you want to.
RBL says upgrading the rushing attack will protect Penix a lot. Just having a better running game, period. Like I said, the running game has not done a lot for the offense these last few years, and I definitely think that's going to be a big difference this year. Without question, they've upgraded that. Stephen Carr is a good running back. He's on the Doak Walker watch list. You've got McCullough coaching. It's just going to be better back there, and it is going to make a difference. It's going to make Indiana better, period. Besides protecting Michael Penix, it's going to make the offense better. It's going to make them more difficult, less predictable. You have to have a running attack. Have to. I think we saw that right here on this stadium 2 years ago against Ball State. I just remember, I was like, wow, how can you not run against Ball State? They didn't. But we'll see. Looking forward to tomorrow, though. Tom Allen, Michael Penix, Ty Freifogel, Michael McFadden, Jeff Brum. Not even sure who all Dustin should be back with us as well. Not sure who all we can get on. But, man, you guys have been great today. We really appreciate you all. Thank you for joining us. Sean, Tim, RBO, Jennifer, 20 Speed, Glenn, Chris, just trying to read them all that I can see right there. But thanks to all you guys and all your comments. We appreciate you. We're going to be back tomorrow to do this all again. Looking forward to it. But you guys go out and have a great day. Thanks a lot to Dustin and John and all of you all. Without you, we have nothing to do. But until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle coming to you live from Lucas Oil Stadium. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the radio.